Phase 2 of Live Hard is complete, and the difficulty of this phase came out of nowhere. It's not like there was anything unusual about it, but that may be why it was so difficult. Let me explain it a little bit. Phase 2 of Live Hard is the exact same protocol of 75 Hard. You have your two 45-minute workouts, with one being outside, your daily progress photo, you have to drink 1 gallon of water, you must follow a diet, of course no cheat meals and no alcohol, and you must read 10 pages of a personal development book. Nothing new, the exact same expectations of 75 Hard, except this one is only for 30 days. So just hearing all those requirements, you'd probably think, this is going to be a breeze, nothing to it. For me, it was anything but that. I do need to mention that there is only one small requirement for this phase that's different from the others, and it's that you must wait 30 days after completing phase 1 to start phase 2. Now that I think about it, that's probably why it was a little bit difficult. When first jumping into phase 2, things were a little bit rough. It's almost as if this one was designed to get you to fail just because it made you think that it was going to be so easy. I mean, so many things can go wrong. You've already done 75 Hard, which is over 2 months of being very strict on this program. Then you upped your game and did phase 1, which is even more requirements than 75 Hard, and you did that for 30 days. So what's the issue in waiting 30 days and then just completing another round of 75 Hard for only 30 days? Now for me, life is a little bit busier now throughout phase 2 than it was back when I did 75 Hard. So my schedule is a little bit different and time management is more of a bigger priority. Of course, if you're doing this program, you know that is no excuse and you have to learn how to adapt. But like I mentioned, I went through 75 Hard and I thought this is going to be a breeze, but I almost got caught sleeping a couple times. The thing that tripped me up on the first couple days was forgetting to take that progress picture. When I did 75 Hard in phase 1, I took the progress picture as soon as I woke up. That's so I wouldn't forget about it, and it was just part of my morning routine. Here, I forgot until the very end of the day on day 1 and day 2, so I had to take my progress pictures in the evening. After that, I told myself I'm not going to let a progress picture let me slip up on this program, so I just put it in my calendar, and until I got back into the swing of things, which was about a few days, it became part of the morning routine again and no issues from there. Now, as for my two 45-minute workouts, I actually did both of these outside a few times just because the weather's so much nicer this time of year compared to when I did 75 Hard back in the winter and then when I did phase 1 back in the summer. That being said, it's important to remember that Andy Frisella talks about how this program is not a fitness program and it's not a diet program, but it's a personal development program. So that being said, it's about building discipline, building accountability, staying true to what you say you're going to do, and executing on all those things. But going into the fact that this is a personal development program, something I like to remind myself is that I want to do things with purpose. Whether it's my 45-minute workout, the reading, even the diet or the drinking the gallon of water. I want everything to be of the best of my ability. Now this is something that I had to remind myself quite a bit on phase 2. We all get a little overconfident sometimes, and I came into this phase thinking it's going to be a breeze like I mentioned, so subconsciously, I wanted to show up and just go through the motions. Next, let's talk about the diet for a little bit. Now, Andy specifically mentions that there is no real requirement on following a diet as long as you're just following some sort of program. It really depends on your goals, whether you're trying to build lean muscle, lose a little weight. Either way, your diet's going to look different from person to person, but consistency is the main idea. Throughout 75 Hard, my goal was to cut weight, so I followed a very strict macro plan. After cutting down in 75 Hard, I made the decision that I wanted to start building lean muscle throughout phase 1, 2, and 3. So I moved my macros into maintenance. Now I also mentioned back in my 75 Hard video that I was starting to experiment a little bit with meal timing and found pretty good results off that. So throughout phase 2, I wanted to do a little bit of a different approach while still keeping in mind that I want to build lean muscle. Here I focused on keeping my protein intake the same, but fluctuating my carbs and fats based on the intensity of the workouts that I did. I guess you could call it a carb cycling approach. On heavier training days, specifically where I did a lot more weight training, I would bring my carbs up. Now on days when I was doing more of an active recovery, like maybe more of a cardio session for each workout, I would actually drop my carbs down a little bit. I wasn't completely blasting myself on both of these workouts, so the caloric needs weren't as high as, say, when I did pretty heavy weight training followed by a CrossFit workout. I did these lower carb days 2 days a week, with my higher carb days being the 5 days a week where I lifted weights and did some type of high intensity interval training for my outdoor workout. As for my goal of building muscle after doing 75 Hard, I probably won't go back to this lower carb day mixed with some higher carb days. I'll keep my macros the same throughout, but this is something that I always wanted to try and really just wanted to see how my energy levels felt. After doing 2 workouts a day with the fluctuations of carbs, I didn't always feel my best coming off of a low carb day into a higher carb day, but if I were competing in something and my goal was to get as lean as possible, I might consider using this approach. Just to be clear, when I talk about lower carbs, it's probably not as low as you'd think. On my lower carb days, I was around 225 to 250 grams, and on my higher carb days, I was about at 450 grams. Now that may sound like a lot or a little depending on you, but 450 grams of carbs isn't really that much compared to what I usually eat, even on maintenance. Moving forward into phase 3, I'm going to get back onto a strict macro approach where things don't really change, just so I can see a little bit more consistency. Now, the 2 books that I read in this phase are Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People and The Last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a book that I wanted to reread because the last time I read that book was probably about a decade ago, and there were some things that I wanted to refresh my mind on and maybe see if I could learn something new with the different mindset that I have today. I came across this book, The Last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need, from another YouTube creator, and they said they really enjoyed the book. I'm always looking for ideas for books, so if you have one, drop it in the comments below and I'll be sure to read it. And if I really like it, I might make a review on it or just make a video about what I learned from it. But anyway, this book really does live up to the title. I feel like if you're interested in the personal development world, which I'm sure you are if you're doing 75 Hard or Live Hard or you're even watching this content, it's a great book to read. It really simplifies some of the concepts that people talk about with law of attraction, visualization, manifestation, and all that stuff. And it doesn't make it so out there. What I mean by that is it makes things a lot more easily understood, and it doesn't paint a false narrative that if you just visualize or anything like that, great things will come to you. It explains that you do have to work towards your goals, but it helps develop the mindset to make this journey a little bit easier to navigate. Well, that's all I have in this quick review of phase 2. I'm going to be starting phase 3, the final phase of Live Hard, here in November. You have to do that 30 days before you start your anniversary of 75 Hard. So I'm really looking forward to making that video, and I'm going to recap the entire Live Hard program there. So if you're on the fence, I'm going to give you a full review, and you can make the decision if you want to follow it yourself. Phase 3 looks to be the most difficult out of all the phases in Live Hard, so I'm excited to share that one with you guys. And if you want to keep up on the journey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. And if you want to see more content related to building a high performance mindset and lifestyle development, I'll be bringing all of that to you. Until I see you next time, thanks for watching.